According to the Zionist-controlled Wall Street Journal, labor unions are now anti-Semitic. You can't make this shit up. The anti-Semitism hoax is becoming more absurd by the day. The Wall Street Journal is making the argument that labor unions are becoming anti-Semitic because they are advocating for Israel to stop bombing children. Labor unions have been some of the leading voices in calling out Israeli genocide in the West, and Zionists are now panicking. So now the Wall Street Journal is calling for Congress to subpoena these union leaders so they can grill them in front of Congress over spreading anti-Semitism. And you already know Congress is willing to do this, especially when they get the order from their AIPAC handler. The only problem is, this will deeply backfire. Labor unions are at an all-time high in terms of popularity among Americans, while Zionism is at an all-time low in terms of popularity and American support. So attacking unions for not supporting Zionism is not going to work out that well for them. As Zionism becomes more and more unpopular in the West, we're going to see the Zionist-controlled ruling class engage in even more harsh authoritarian tactics. These people are Jewish supremacists who legitimately believe that we don't have the right to question the Israeli state. I am beginning to question our ability to coexist with these people.
What's poppin'? My friends, my family, we on week 2 of our new show here at RBN. What's poppin'? My friends, my family, we are back. I told you guys, I'm going to keep the streak going, man. 4 straight shows. Doing this 3 times a week. Make sure y'all check us out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have a lot to cover today. This week, we have a banger set of shows for you guys for the second week. I'm solo today because I got a lot on my mind, as I always do, especially after a long weekend. Wednesday, we are going to have a Zionist panel to kind of discuss some things that we are talking about today. Discuss this problem I'm seeing, which a lot of people are afraid to discuss, because we are witnessing one of the most grotesque genocides and acts of violence as the world is watching by. We have Gaza, which is hitting stage 5 famine. And the people who enabled this, the people who sat by and said nothing, I will never forget, and I will never forgive them, including a large number of Jewish institutions. So we have a panel on Zionism on the Wednesday edition of the show. Friday, Shama Sawant will be joining us, because I've been pushing back hard. Anyone who's been watching RBN, now I've been pushing back on the bullshit anti-Semitism hoax, which is used to squash all dissent in the West against Jewish supremacy. And people will say you're anti-Semitic if I call out how Judaism is laying in bed and tying themselves to genocide. I need you guys to understand that it is not our job to do PR for Judaism. There are a lot of people who believe that that's their role as they witness people starving to death. I am one of the people who, even though I'm not religious, I can appreciate someone who has religious views if it brings them to a humanitarian position. I know that me and Dr. Cornel West clashed before in the past, but I explained many times before that Dr. Cornel West has a very admirable, view of Christianity. I don't know how anyone can witness Dr. Cornel West and how he lives his life and then come to the conclusion that his religion is the problem. But why is it considered out of bounds for us to ask simple questions like, why are there so many Jewish leaders They are supportive not only of the Israeli state, but they are supportive of mass slaughter in their name. Yes, we know that the Zionists, that it's very important for them to tie the state of Israel to Judaism, to make Jews feel like they have some sort of loyalty that they are owed to the state. My question I have is, why is Judaism allowing this to happen? Can you guys imagine? And I don't have to because I lived through it. Can you guys imagine the reaction of the world if 99.2% of mosques supported terrorism? Imagine if 99.2% of mosques around the world not only supported Al-Qaeda and radical Islamic terrorism, but they actively retaliated against other Muslims who didn't. Do you guys think people would be like, oh, come on, man, we got to separate? This had nothing to do with Islam, man. You have our entire society that condemns Islam all the time. And there are people who've been harassed their entire life, Muslim organizations who've been harassed their entire existence because of the war on terror, where they was forced to condemn Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and radical jihad. And 99%, over 99% of all mosques did. 99% of Muslims did. Very openly and aggressively condemned terrorism of Al-Qaeda, of all these radical groups in the Middle East and Africa. They have been strongly, vocally against anyone who used Islam as a way to spread terrorism and violence. You guys realize that it's the exact opposite with Judaism, right? So I'm not tying Judaism to Zionism. I am critiquing the current state of Judaism, where we will explain like, hey man, the genocidal state of Israel has a lot of people who are not religious, like Benjamin Netanyahu, that has taken advantage of the Jewish religion in order to spread their genocidal ideology and settler colonialism. Despite that, the Jewish organizations are more than happy to allow that to happen. So I've covered how the teachers union, I gotta reload this here, and the rank and file voted to ban the ADL because the ADL is a genocide supporting organization. Not only is the ADL a genocide supporting organization, they're actively fascist, where they're advocating for censorship towards Americans if you don't support the aspirations of the Jewish people, because they use the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. The IHRA definition of anti-Semitism is if you oppose Jewish people in their pursuit for their sovereignty and their religious right to their holy land, you are anti-Semitic. It is something that no religious scholar should ever consider to be a legitimate definition for anti-Semitism. So for all the youthful idiots on the left, because I've taken the very public and bold position that there is no anti-Semitism. There is no structural anti-Semitism. Jewish Zionists are in a position where they can get immediate congressional hearings, bills passed, and they get paid reparations just because anti-Israel protests hurt their feelings, and people want to tell me that anti-Semitism is a thing because I don't support their aspirations of sovereignty over the Israeli state. And I don't even like the idea if these religious groups trying to tie their identity similar to race. Like, You have these white Jewish people who are the most privileged people in the history of humanity. But they managed to convince the world that they're some sort of minority because they're Jewish, even though 25% of the billionaires are Jewish. They completely bankroll corrupt politicians to implement their agenda. And you have white Jews who make way more than anyone else who manage to convince people that they're some sort of minority that's being discriminated against. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. And I would never buy it. And then the crazy thing is you have these white privileged Jewish motherfuckers who then turn into a working class black person like me and many other black people, because the ADL, they make a living smearing black people as anti-Semites. They will look at black people and say, hey man, I don't believe that you guys should be implementing Jewish supremacy and starving children to death. And they say, hey look, that black guy over there is a Nazi because he questioned my privilege, because he questioning the Jewish people. It's absurd that they managed to trick people into believing this. Unions are not supportive of this, which is why the teachers' unions, rank and file, voted to condemn the ADL and their absurd definition of anti-Semitism, which is spreading all across the West. So you have dumb leftists and dumb Western leftists that say, hey man, I think anti-Semitism is a real thing. Hey Nick, you can't say anti-Semitism isn't real. Because this is the tweet that had everyone melting down. I'm not buying it. I said anti-Semitism is not real. And I had this absolute banger, generational tweet. And bro, look at that, 2.5 million views, 30,000 likes. Because I explained very simply, anti-Semitism isn't real. I'm not religious. The idea that I have to accept your goofy fucking Jewish stories about you being God-chosen people and accept the existence of your apartheid state is absurd. Because you guys know whenever Zionists talk about anti-Semites, they are talking about you. The ADL specifically said that when they mentioned how there were over 2,000 anti-Semitic incidents last year, 75% of them was literally just anti-Israel protests. So I've been asking people, if you believe that anti-Semitism is real, who are the anti-Semites? Me? Because I don't want my taxpayer money to be sent starving children? Am I an anti-Semite because I am critical of a religion where 90% of their members support genocide? If you have a religion and the result of your religion is 99% of the institutions supporting genocide, I'm allowed to say that your religion has bad ideas. And I'm very open. I believe that Judaism have gone through rails. Their Jewish leaders have sold their people out. And now their religion is cursed forever for supporting the genocide of the Palestinian people. So if I believe that, is that anti-Semitism? Because I say something that Jewish people don't like? You guys see how they've been completely rewriting what anti-Semitism is. For one, another reason why this rubbed me the wrong way is because these white Polish motherfuckers are not even Semitic people. The idea that we're going to support the genocidal Zionist fascist propaganda that erases Palestinians as Semitic people, why would anyone on the left do that in the first place? You got all these white Polish people talking about, oh my God, I'm a victim of anti-Semitism. Shut the fuck up. No, you're not. And then there are people on the left like, hey, Nick, don't you know that anti-Semitism actually exists? Why? Because we calling out Benjamin Milakovsky? I don't even accept the premise. Don't even accept the premise that somehow disagreeing with these Polish people, these people who are literally cosplaying at Middle East. Then if you say that, you're anti-Semite. So I ask the people on the left, if you were one of these people on the left that say, oh my God, Nick, don't you know that anti-Semitism is actually real? You know there's actually people who hate Jewish people? Who? You have Hamas, That is clear that they have nothing against Jewish people. Hamas is saying they don't hate Jewish people. I'm around the most radical of the radical in the Palestinian movement. The from the river to the sea motherfuckers. The one-state solution motherfuckers. And these people have to jump over mountains and say over and over and over and over and over and over again that they don't hate Jewish people. So if you're saying that there's actually some anti-Semitism that actually exists, are you implying that there's anti-Semitism in the Palestinian movement? And if you believe there is some anti-Semitism, why are you even against people going after quote-unquote anti-Semitic actions if you believe it's real in the first place? My position is that there is zero, absolutely zero Jewish hate in the Palestinian movement. Zero. None, nada. And if you disagree with that statement, congratulations. You are a fascist that is sitting in bed with the Zionist fascists that turned the UK and Germany into a fascist state. You have people say, hey, Nick, don't you know we can't just say anti-Semitism isn't real, Nick? Don't you know that if we say that anti-Semitism isn't real, then the Jews will come and use that as an excuse to implement authoritarian policies? You mean what they're doing right now? The only thing you're accomplishing by giving credence to this anti-Semitism hoax is manufacturing consent for the ruling class to crack down on the people who they are labeling anti-Semitic. So I'm asking for the people who are like, oh, there is real anti-Semitic Semitism. Who? And you want to know when people are completely desperate to legitimize the anti-Semitism hoax? You want to know what they say? They say, hey, Nick, don't you know that anti-Semitism is real? Don't you know that Nick Fuentes exists? Don't you know that the Fed Boys exist? Don't you know that neo-Nazis exist? And whenever someone uses that argument, you know you're talking to a defeated person. Because if someone has to bring up Nazism to describe a quote-unquote surge of anti-Semitism, that shows how desperate they are, because Nazis hate everybody. Look at what Hitler said about black people. Hitler said black people are subhuman. Nazis, look at what Nazi forums are saying about Indian people. Look at what they say about Muslims. Look at what they say about Latinos. Nazis hate everybody. So if you have to use Nazis as your example of this surge of anti-Semitism, the fact that you even had to pull that shows the weakness of your argument. I said, I'm so tired of people legitimizing this stupid bullshit. I don't believe in your stupid fucking God. Stop trying to force me to. Fuck you and your dirty apartheid state from the river to the sea. And this is the part that pissed a lot of people off here. Which shows, and it reveals how naive and how much of a youthful idiot they actually are. I said, fuck you and your stupid tiny hats. Because I'm shit posting. It's my page. And I'm allowed to be triggered when I see starving children. The idea that it's our job to be in perfect control of our emotions as these Zionist motherfuckers are starving children. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to be triggered when I see 99% of Jewish institutions support genocide. I'm going to be triggered when I see synagogues promoting the anti-Semitism hoax used to crack down on our free speech. So why isn't it upon us to be in perfect control of our emotions as Jewish people refuse to say anything about genocide? So I will admit that I probably went a little bit too far here. I'm mature enough to admit this, but I will still double down and say that this is not even anti-Semitism. I will tell you right now that I think I went a little bit too far with this tweet right here, because I am fucking pissed. I'm literally rage tweeting this. Look, you guys see the time? It's 6 a.m. 6 a.m. I'm in the morning seeing dead children, and I will admit that a lot of things I said in this thread was said out of anger. But I'm allowed to be angry at these genocidal motherfuckers. And people who are saying that I was anti-Semitic for saying this, I will say I will absolutely not. Because, as I mentioned before, anti-Semitism used to be people who denied the Holocaust. People who used to be anti-Semitic used to be people who have a searing hatred for Jewish people, which I do not have. Now, the new definition of anti-Semitism apparently is people who Jewish people dislike. An anti-Semite is someone who says something rude to Jewish people now. Fuck you and your stupid tiny hats is a rude thing to say. I am angry. It is 100% a rude thing to say. It is not an anti-Semitic thing to say. Since when is making fun of religious people's hats off the table? Is that where we at now? Is that the level of brainwash that people are dealing with when it comes to Jewish supremacy? That you've been brainwashed so much that we can't even make fun of religious people's hats? I am one of them edgy, teenage atheist from the 2000s, and we went too far, man. I'm not like an edgy atheist no more. I appreciate people in their different beliefs, but I remember back in the day when people used to say "fuck Islam," "fuck Christianity," "fuck religion," but then the second you say "fuck Judaism," all of a sudden you went too far. Do you guys understand? Why is that going too far? This is the question I keep asking. Why is it okay to say fuck fuck Islam, fuck Christianity? And this is what edgy teenage atheists like me did throughout the entirety of the 2000s. A lot of you Gen Z kids don't understand, bro. You guys understand? This is before we developed class consciousness. We had people like Rush Limbaugh, George W. Bush Jr., and the evangelical Christians who was saying they invaded Iraq because God told them to. So there was an era of edgy atheism. And we used to say fuck religion all the time. And then wokeism happened. And now, ever since the dawn of wokeism, of liberal wokeism that served imperialism, now we can't even say fuck people who have bad beliefs anymore. So if you're one of these 99%, I'm gonna show you guys the receipts. If you're one of those 99.2% of these Jewish institutions who support genocide, I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it with my whole ass chest. Fuck you and your stupid tiny hats and your trash culture. I'm allowed to say this because you're not God-chosen people. The idea we're supposed to support your claim as God-chosen people, you're a God-chosen psychopath. You're Satan's chosen people. Starving people, and Jewish leaders can't even say anything about it. You have the ADL that is pushing the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, which will smear anyone as anti-Semite if you don't support the genocide in Gaza, if you are critical of the military actions of Israel. It is so batshit crazy that even Wikipedia is controlled by Zionists, my friends. Even Wikipedia don't view ADL and the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism as credible. You want to know who does? You want to know who's lobbying and successfully lobbied to put fascism on people in the West? Hundreds of Jewish groups. Are we not supposed to say anything about this? Look at this. Hundreds of Jewish groups urged the NEA, the National, that's the teachers union, the National Teacher Union, to reject the ADL ban. So everyone sees the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism as toxic. Meanwhile, we have hundreds of Jewish groups not condemning it. They're not condemning it. They're not saying, hey, man, I think it's unfair. I don't think, even though we may disagree with these people, we think that people should be able to criticize the government of Israel. No, you guys realize hundreds of Jewish groups are trying and actively pushing for fascism on our community. But you want to tell me that your focus right now, as hundreds of Jewish groups are pushing for fascism, is to tone police a black Marxist because I insulted their tiny hats? That's your priority right now, Western leftists. Colombia limits speech and erode safety by adopting IHRA anti-Semitism framework. This is the same framework that leaders in the UK has accepted. This is the framework that is being used in Germany to lock up, in the UK to lock up Palestine actions. And as they are doing this, as fascism is being implemented and endorsed by Jewish institutions, the priority of Western leftists is to spend their time protecting Jewish feelings. There's not enough words in the English language to describe how deeply unserious you have to be to promote the anti-Semitism hoax, considering the situation that we are in. And there's not enough words that I can use to describe how much I despise anyone who's legitimizing this. And everyone know, if I don't give a fuck about anyone's fucking. If you in the Jewish community and you got 99.2% of your institutions supporting a genocide, you should be embarrassed. You should be furious that people are mocking your religion and mocking your God and bastardizing it in such a way by tying it to a religious apartheid state. But instead of being furious about that, a lot of these anti-Zionist Jews are spending their time tone policing people. Instead of being deeply ashamed at what your culture is producing, they're spending their time yelling at black people for being too mean to them. Oh my God, how dare you critique the Jewish institutions, Nick? What about our feelings? Yeah, I know Palestinians are starving. Yeah, I know that Israel's committing a genocide. I know entire families are being wiped out and fascism is being implemented. But what about me and my feelings? You're making me feel uncomfortable, Nick. Don't you know you're making my Jewish family member feel uncomfortable when you refuse to separate Judaism from Zionism? It is not my job, and I am not doing this shit no more. It is not my job to do PR for you motherfuckers. It is not my job to do PR for Judaism. It is not my fault that your leaders decide to lay in bed with genocidal maniacs in the evangelical Christian Zionist church and Benjamin Netanyahu. I didn't do that. Your religious leaders did. And I am beyond. After seeing all these fucking dead children, I am not doing PR for Judaism no more. And if that makes you upset, too bad. Because there are a lot of people, there are a lot of ignorant, stupid motherfuckers who was melting down in my tweets who wasn't making any arguments. They was making emotional arguments. They wasn't making arguments against the point I was making, talking about how the rot in the Jewish institutions. They was making emotional arguments. And there was people that was telling me with a straight face. There was people with a straight face that were telling me like, hey, Nick, it's very unfair for you to tie Jewish institutions to Israel just because Israel says they're part of them. I'm like, I'm not doing it because Israel says that they represent the Jews. I am doing it because the Jews are willing to allow Israel to claim Judaism as something that they are protecting. So out of all the synagogues in the United States, how many are anti-Zionists? Apparently, I'm the only motherfucker who's interested in this kind of stuff because people in the middle of a genocide, your number one fucking concern is protecting the feeling of the Jews. So I looked it up and I found a very interesting article of an anti-Zionist synagogue and this person here who deserves a lot of credit like any anti-Zionist Jewish person does. You woke up after years of brainwashing and now opposing a genocidal state known as Israel, despite everything your religion told you, despite the massive pressure coming from your community, you are still resisting Zionism. So there is an anti-Zionist synagogue, a very well-known one in Chicago. I blank on this guy's first name. His last name is Rosen. The guy who's the chief rabbi of this anti-Zionist synagogue. So people will say, and the people who was reacting to my tweet in an emotional but not intelligent way, they'll say, Nick, you are doing the bidding of Israel by tying Judaism to Zionism. I'm like, no, I'm not. I am not in denial. You have all these chief rabbis who keep saying, like, hey, yeah, I support the state of Israel. So who the fuck are you? Someone who is not Jewish to then say, oh, you're not really a representative of Judaism. Motherfucker, all the chief rabbis are telling you that they support this shit. So the chief rabbi of the anti-Zionist synagogue in Chicago was asked a question: how many synagogues in this country are actually Zionists and take an anti-Zionist position? You want to know how many synagogues in the United States support an anti-Zionist position? Only 30. Only 30. So when I saw this, look, Rosen estimates there are now some 30 other anti-Zionist congregations or prayer groups. So it includes people who like come together in prayer groups as well. So maybe like people who are not officially a synagogue. So there's not even 30 synagogues. This is 30 synagogues plus other Jewish groups. So out of all the synagogues and Jewish prayer groups, Rosen, the chief rabbi of the anti-Zionist synagogue in Chicago, says there are only 30 of them. Only 30 in the entire country. So, how many synagogues are there in the United States? So for all the dummies that are like, hey, Nick, stop tying Zionism to Judaism. I didn't do that. 30 out of 3,727. Are we not allowed to talk about how crazy this is? You guys realize that this is less than 1%. 99.2% of synagogues support the Zionist regime. But we are not allowed to critique Jewish institutions and critique a religion that leads to 99% of institutions supporting genocide? Can you imagine if only 30 mosques out of all the mosques in this country condemn Al-Qaeda? Will people be like, oh, you can't critique Islam. That'll be anti-Islamic phobia. You can't do that. Do you guys think people will have a cool, rational take about Islam? Look, this is 0.8%. You can't make this shit up, fam. Only 0.8% of synagogues condemn Zionism and operate in an anti-Zionist way, but we're not allowed to critique this. And you want to know what's even more damning about this? Because you have less than 1% of Jewish institutions that oppose genocide, and then among those 1%, are they greeted with and welcomed with open arms by their Jewish brothers and sisters? Or is there a mutual understanding that we have different interpretations of Judaism and we're going to respect your opinion? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the chief rabbi of the anti-Zionist synagogue in Chicago explained how he was met with massive retaliation by the other synagogues once he actively took an anti-Zionist position. And he was kicked off the Chicago Board of Rabbis because he opposed genocide and opposed Zionism. So how many times have you guys heard stories about anti-Zionist Jews being retaliated against by their own community? We hear it all the time. We interview people who are anti-Zionist Jews who explain how their family disowned them. People talk about this all the time. So anti-Zionist Jews will be like, oh my God, I was retaliated against by my community. But then whenever someone who is not a Jew say, hey, man, I think that's fucked up. I think that's fucked up that they retaliated against you because you don't support genocide. I think the Jewish community is pretty toxic. They would then get, the anti-Zionist Jew would then get upset at you. Can someone explain why they get upset at you? Anti-Zionist Jews would explain and tell you all these horror stories. They will explain how many times have you guys heard anti-Zionist Jews say stuff like this? They will say, I fought my entire life to shake off the brainwashing that I had to go through as a child. So after they explained to me how they was brainwashed as a child to support genocide, I then turn around and say, hey man, I think the Jewish culture is pretty toxic. I think it's fucked up that they brainwashed their children from a young age. Then they be like, Nick, how dare you? How dare you get upset at the Jewish community for brainwashing me? Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, motherfuckers. So a lot of these anti-Zionist Jews are starting to irritate me, man. In the middle of the genocide, they spend their time tone policing people. Now they're not yelling at their family. They're not cutting off their genocidal family members. It's everything about how you're making them feel. Everything is about me. Yeah. Come on, man. You get insult Jewish people. Come on, you're making us feel uncomfortable. This is them. They are centering. You got these anti-Zionist Jews that are centering themselves in the middle of the genocide and spend their time yelling at me. There was people in the Jewish Voice for Peace who unfollowed me because of this. You guys know that? You guys know how many anti-Zionist Jews unfollowed me? Because I was like, I don't believe this anti-Semitism shit is real. So in the middle of the genocide, as we were watching Palestinian kids starve, you know who they're centering? Isn't it interesting how whose feelings they're centering? They're not centering the feelings of the Palestinians who have their family murdered, who are being censored. They're spending their time yelling at the Palestinian movement and making sure that they accept the premise of the anti-Semitism hoax. And it's the same scourge of racism. Well, like you have Palestinians that will make a claim against Israel. You have Palestinians that say, "Hey, man, you have Israel that is shooting people who are collecting aid," and then people wouldn't believe them until a Jewish person says it. So Jewish Voices for Peace, and I'm gonna have one of the people from Jewish Voices for Peace. One of the people who follow me. They're gonna join me apparently for the Wednesday panel unless they pull out. Good luck. Because all the people who got upset at me for this tweet, all the people who thought I went too far, none of these people are willing to debate me over this. And none of these people are willing to explain why so many Jewish organizations are captured and punishing people who speak out against genocide. So let me read this for people who are only listening. Look, this is regarding the anti-Zionist synagogue in Chicago. To these congregations, support for Israel is almost a religious tenet of American Judaism. So, for a majority of congregations, majority of Jewish institutions, they explain how many times do we have to hear Jewish organizations explain how support for Israel is a founding tenet of their religion until we believe them? So do you guys understand how arrogant it sounds and how ridiculous it sounds? Because there's all these leftists who are in cult mode, who like, hey man, Israel does not represent Judaism. Israel does not represent Judaism. Israel does not represent Judaism. And then you have people who in Judaism like, hey yo, we love Israel. Who are you to tell these followers of their own religion that they are wrong? The followers of their own religion keep saying that the core premise of their belief is the support of Israel. This is why these same Jewish people retaliate against anti-Zionist Jews for speaking out against the genocidal state of Israel because they view those people as committing blasphemy. Anyway, let me continue this part here. Those who reject that tenet risk being cast out. So if you don't support the state of Israel and you're a Jew, you will be cast out of Jewish culture. So how many anti-Zionist Jews explain this to us? But it's somehow anti-Semitic when I say, hey man, I think this culture is kind of toxic. If they are canceling people for not supporting genocide. Can you imagine if people in the Black community was being kicked out and ostracized for their community for not supporting criminal, violent behavior? Can you guys understand how crazy and batshit? I can't even come up with a comparable analysis. Can you imagine Muslims being condemned if they don't support ISIS? Like, there's not even a comparable example I can give you guys. That's how far gone the American Jewish community is now. Because if you guys think I'm being too harsh, I keep imploring you guys to think about the inverse of this. Think about how people react in 99% of synagogues supported genocide. And then those same people condemned and financially retaliated against Muslims. Will there be this, oh, come on, guys, we can't critique the religion. Come on. There will be none of that. Absolutely none of that. Look, I think I want to say that word. Is that Zaydik? So that's the name of the synagogue here. So that I'm going to say the anti-Zionist synagogue members, they explain how relatives will no longer speak to them. What? So in the Jewish community, you will be canceled by your own family members if you don't support genocide. But this is not something that should be condemned. This is why I say anti-Semitism isn't real. Because people call me an anti-Semite, guys, because I condemn this. I condemn the toxic Jewish culture where families are canceling their family members because they oppose starving children to death. You don't condemn that? Have your mind been colonized so much? Have you been brainwashed by Jewish supremacy? Are you so fucking intimidated by the Jewish mob that you won't say you condemn Jewish communities condemning and canceling their family members? You too afraid to say that because you guys realize that there are thousands of people on Twitter calling me an anti-Semite for condemning this. Because if you're one of the people who are canceling your family members because they oppose genocide, I will say with my chest, fuck you and your tiny stupid ass. So this is the discourse that I want to have. A lot of people don't understand. I love that my tweet got 2.5 million views. I'm glad I pissed off all the Zionists. And then, you know what's funny thing is, you had quote-unquote leftists, fake DSA leftists, that was locking arms with genocidal Zionists in order to smear Black communists, in order to legitimize the anti-Semitism hoax to rob your free speech away. Do you guys understand how cooked the left is? They will form a coalition with Zionists to like, hey, Nick, you stupid motherfucker. Don't you know anti-Semitism is real? Listen to the Zionist over here. He says anti-Semitism is real. How dare you question that? Dude, the left is cooked. Meanwhile, go on Redno. Go on any Chinese social media app. Do you think they're saying, technically, they're not Jews? Technically, we got to say, no. Go on Redno. They're saying the Jews are genocidal. The Jews need to be dealt with, bro. The average U.S. leftist will have their mind blown if they see what the fucking Chinese communists are saying about the Jews. Meanwhile, I am the anti-Semite of the week if you look at X. Bro, they are canceling me. But I triggered all these people, all these anti-Zionist Jews with Palestinian flags. They're like, oh my God, Nick, you are legitimizing. Why you are legitimizing, and this is the reason why people think anti-Semitism is real, because you're condemning my religion, the religion where my own family kicked me out. Anti-Zionist Jews, in one hand, they will talk about how they was retaliated against by their family members. They will explain how they lost job opportunities. And then in the second breath, they'll get mad at you for condemning this culture. Someone explain to me how this coherent. Someone explain to me why Jewish Voice for Peace is getting upset, because I am mentioning how they themselves were victims of this toxic culture. So let me continue. You guys see, I've been having a lot of fun with this. Like, people like, Nick, don't you know you're in trouble? In trouble? Nick, I love discourse. I've been loving every second of this, because now this is discourse that I am going to continue, and trust me, fam, I am going to finish it. Because I gave this a lot of thought, and I got receipts for days. You know how many stories I have read where synagogues are putting pressure on the government to censor Americans, to censor people in the West? I have zero. If you get upset with me, if you cancel me over this, I am 100% okay with that. Because I'm telling you guys, after the fascism I have seen, after the children, and after the gore I have seen, I am taking zero space on this. I am giving zero space to this issue, and I have zero tolerance for anyone who legitimizes this. Like their friend Zoran Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani, as we speak, is planning to fund the NYPD more so they can enforce anti-Semitism. Fascist crackdown on pro-Palestinian groups. That is what Zoran Mamdani said he's going to do. Now you ask me why people on the left is upset when I say anti-Semitism isn't real. Are you still comfortable with saying anti-Semitism is real, as these same people are calling Jewish people in their own community anti-Semites? They said labor unions are anti-Semitic. Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL, he like, I got a rough estimate. I estimate around 50% of the entire world is anti-Semites. Then I laugh at these people, and I say they are batshit crazy. And then people get upset at me for that? I'm fine with that. I'm fine dying on this hill, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I am seeing a scourge, the scourge of humanity, which is Jewish supremacy, which is implementing fascism all over the West. Meanwhile, you got Western leftists pussyfooting with this. As the UK and Germany descends into full-blown fascism, you got leftists in the United States pussyfooting with the anti-Semitism hoax and pretending this is real. This is absolutely bullshit, and fuck anyone who is legitimizing this. If you're an anti-Zionist Jew and you are legitimizing the anti-Semitism hoax, you are a useful idiot of the Zionist regime, and you are an enemy of the Palestinians. Imagine your family starving people to death. Imagine your people committing a genocide like this. If black Americans were doing what Jewish institutions are signing off on, I would be embarrassed. I go ham at the black community right now for things I critique them on. You understand how hard I would go against the black community if there was full-blown endorsement of a genocide? You know what? And meanwhile, anti-Zionist Jews are spending their time condemning us. Talking shit on us like, oh, God damn it, you fucking anti-Semitic leftists are making my job harder. Fuck you. How about that? Until you cut off your family members, until you convert your genocidal Jewish family members, I don't want to hear shit from you. As you're spreading the anti-Semitism bullshit. People on the left supporting the anti-Semitism bullshit. at Palestine action being locked up. And they think, and the thing is, these dumb leftists, they think they're playing fighting chess. They're like, oh, guys, do you know we separate Judaism from Zionism? Then they will have no claim. They will have no right to crack down on us because we're not being anti-Semitic. As if these motherfuckers have a conscience. These dumb leftists think they are playing 5D chess because they're too afraid to critique Judaism. You are not playing 5D chess, and your weakness is still leading to the implementation of fascism. If you're an anti-Zionist Jew, how about you join a flotilla? Like our friend Chris Smalls. How about you put your body on the line? Like our friend Dr. Jill Stein. Dr. Jill Stein is an anti-Zionist Jew who was arrested. She put her body on the line. A frail old 70-year-old woman was brutally arrested by the police state because she put her fucking body on the line, standing against her genocidal people. Meanwhile, what you're doing as an anti-Zionist Jew is yelling at black communists. You yelling at the left. Come on, you gotta be nicer to Judaism. Stop tying our beliefs to genocidal culture which we support. Until you get your ass arrested, I don't want to hear from you. Let alone you making this about you. You guys don't know how much these people disgust me? The anti-Zionist Jew making this genocide about you and your feelings. You upset because people on the left are saying anti-Semitism isn't real. You guys, you should have seen all the anti-Zionist Jews like, Nick, don't you know that your rhetoric is hurting me? Shut the fuck up. You talking about how much you're being hurt as we are watching Palestinian children being starved? You are a psychopath. All of you. You thought I was going to apologize to you? They're like, man, let's gang up on Nick and we're going to force him to apologize. Fuck you. If you're one of the anti-Zionist Jews and you get upset at me for saying anti-Semitism isn't real, either debate me, either give me hands, or shut the fuck up. That's where I'm at. You failed. The anti-Zionist Jew failed. Your job was to prevent your family and your community from supporting Zionism and genocide, and you failed. And you think you have the nerve to tell other people what is anti-Semitism or not? You think you have the nerve to wag your finger at other leftists and claim that they're anti-Semites? You know how many anti-Zionist Jews was calling me an anti-Semite because I had the nerve to say that the Jewish culture, which retaliates against them, is toxic? So I dare you guys. You guys know where I'm at. I post where I'm at all the time. We hold mutual aid events all the time. Pull up with that same energy. I dare you. Come on to RBN with that same energy. We got someone from Jewish Voice for Peace. I don't know, he might cancel after this live stream because you have no idea what you signed up for. If you're an anti-Zionist Jew and you're upset at my rhetoric recently, you have no idea what the fuck you signed up for because I am going to continue to call out this toxic, cancerous, genocidal culture until I see the number of synagogues who support Zionism being zero. You understand? Motherfuckers thought I was going to apologize. Nah, bro, we just starting this discourse, fam. Because the same people who got upset with me over all this, bro, because you guys should have seen it. It was a meltdown. If you don't actually know, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is the tweet I sent out that not only went viral, but had no controversy around it. Look, 174,000 views, 2,500 likes, 100 bookmarks on this tweet here. You know what I said in this tweet? I explained how I believe the black church is trash because so many black churches was endorsing Jim Crow Joe, thus endorsing genocide. You want to know how many of these quote-unquote anti-Zionist Jews, you want to know how many of these leftists got upset with me under this tweet? How many of these people like, hey, Nick, you can't call the black church trash. That is Christian phobia. I don't fucking know. How many people said that in response to my tweet? How many times have I done segments, fam? How many times have I called out how much the black church fucked us? I have been the biggest critic of the black church my entire life, and I have never seen anyone get upset at me whenever I criticize the black church. So my question is why? Why whenever I say fuck these Jewish institutions support genocide, why am I being attacked for being anti-Semitic, but I'm not being attacked for being anti-black for saying the black church is trash? You guys see how many leftists, how many people in the West have been brainwashed into believing Jewish supremacy? The belief that Jewish people are above criticism? They will never say it. They will never say they believe in Jewish supremacy, but they 100% do, because you will never see them get upset at people saying fuck white America. I say it all the time. You can say fuck white America. You can say fuck the black church. You can say fuck Islam. You can say fuck Scientology. But the second you say fuck Judaism, you get canceled. You realize the only reason you believe this is because Judaism, Jewish supremacy completely destroyed your brain, right? So this tweet right here, I made with zero controversy. But a tweet I made critiquing Jewish institutions broke the internet and had every single anti-Zionist Jew on Twitter literally crying. So you guys sure you want to have the discourse? So if you think I'm wrong on the Jewish community being toxic, why do they keep going after you motherfuckers? Why isn't Jewish organizations not only supporting the anti-Zionist synagogue in Chicago, but uplifting it? I'm going to continue this. I didn't read this whole thing. The anti-Zionist synagogue Chicago members talk about the relatives who no longer speak to them. They talk about being fired. Bro, the Jewish community is so toxic, they are financially retaliating against their own people for not supporting genocide. But anti-Zionist Jews don't like me because I think that there's something wrong with this culture that is retaliating against them. Someone explain to me. So the rabbi at the anti-Zionist synagogue was kicked off the Chicago Board of Rabbis. So if you are a rabbi and you oppose genocide, you will be attacked and destroyed professionally. Hey, Nick, it's not Judaism, it's Zionism. Do you guys know how stupid that shit sounds to me now? When people say, hey, Nick, it's not Judaism, it's Zionism. No, Judaism welcomes Zionism. And if you are part of Judaism, and if you're not a Zionist, you see what happens to them? Why are you guys pretending that anti-Zionist Jews are welcomed and beloved in their community? They're not, because their community is toxic. And there must be a reckoning at how Judaism is radicalizing people from a young age to hate Arabs. Why are synagogues being attacked for making statements against genocide? So all the anti-Zionist Jews who believe they're so right about their pristine culture on me, you guys realize I'm going to keep bringing this up to you guys forever now. So you guys realize, this is funny. This is another hilarious story that none of the anti-Zionist Jews will ever talk about. Hey, Nick, it's not Judaism, it's Zionism. There was a synagogue that put out a letter condemning Israel targeting civilians in Gaza. And then after this letter was released, it faced immediate backlash for the Jewish community, where screenshots was made and it was released, and the synagogue faced massive pressure from the Jewish community. Why? Did they face massive pressure from the Jewish community because they supported burning children alive? Nope. That's not why it faced pressure. This synagogue faced pressure and they eventually backtracked because Jewish people attacked their synagogue for opposing genocide. Look, backlash in synagogues over a letter attacking Israel's actions in Gaza. I thought it wasn't Judaism. I thought it was Zionism. I thought we couldn't separate the two, guys. Come on, man. You can't have both of them tied together. Look, the chair of the Finchley Reform said its council was not notified or consulted before 3 of its deputies added their signatures. So you had rogue Jews. There was rogue Jews in these synagogues who crafted this letter condemning the genocidal actions of Israel in Gaza. And then they was immediately condemned by the leadership of their own synagogue. And they said, hey, man, hey, this letter, once they faced president, like, this letter, hey, man, we had nothing to do with that, bro. We had some rogue Jews who condemned genocide. That had nothing to do with us. They said their council was not notified or consulted before their synagogue was tied to anti-genocide ideology. So let's look at the receipts here. We have 90%, actually 99.2% of American synagogues who support genocide and apartheid. And then the institutions that step out of line, they are then immediately attacked and condemned by other Jewish people in the community. Meanwhile, there are people on the left who said I'm an anti-Semite because I said I believe that this culture is toxic. So anti-Zionist Jews believe that you're an anti-Semite if you believe that the genocidal culture that is preached in Judaism, if you condemn it for leading to many people being genocidal, you're somehow condemned. And you have the Jewish institutions who brainwash Jewish children from a young age. How many times have you guys heard this line from our favorite anti-Zionist Jew reporters who I love? They said, they will say stuff like, I spent years decolonizing my mind. Because, you know, these anti-Zionist Jews, they love patting themselves on the back, too. I spent years decolonizing my mind, and I reached a position that apartheid is bad. Okay, good for you. Congratulations, Jimmy. But do you guys understand why that's such a big jump for these people? I understand why they are proud of themselves, but you understand that they are brainwashed from day one by their parents, by their community, to hate Arabs, to believe that non-Jews should serve them. And then they go through this rehabilitation. They talk to Palestinians, and they learn that everything they were taught as a child was bullshit. How many anti-Zionist Jews tell you guys these stories? I heard it all the time. But somehow, I'm anti-Semitic the second that I say, I think it's fucked up that the Jewish population and Jewish culture brainwashed their children from day one. Is that anti-Semitic statement, guys? Because I want to let you guys know, I would call it anti-Semite for essentially saying that. I think it's fucked up that we're seeing Jewish youth being brainwashed to the point where anti-Zionist Jews have to go through this fucking entire process so they don't hate Arabs. And this is something that we are supposed to be like, oh, I know you guys have this massive complex of brainwashing children. It's okay, though. I respect their religious beliefs. No, fuck that. Like, you don't understand how much Jewish supremacy rotted people's brains that they just accept that Jewish children are brainwashed to be racist towards Arabs. So this is a video we covered many times, and there's so many videos just like this. I feel you guys this one because I already watched this, guys. Go ahead, search Google. Google Jewish student being brainwashed. You know how many fucking crazy ass clips you're gonna see of them teaching Jewish children that they are God chosen people? How many crazy clips that you will find? But for whatever reason, in the left in the United States, we are supposed to run away from these arguments. Why? Why? We can explain that Israel-Palestine is an issue of settler colonialism while also analyzing the ideology that brainwashed a large amount of the population into believing settler colonialism is just. The fact that people don't understand this basic statement, I'll say it again since I kind of botched that. You can separate and acknowledge that Israel-Palestine is an issue of settler colonialism while also questioning the ideology which leads so many people into supporting said settler colonialism. You can do one, that's okay, but the second you ask, hey man, what the fuck are they teaching these synagogues that is leading to 80% of Jewish Israelis believing that there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian? Are we not allowed to question that? So here's the video. We played this a while ago because Hotspot shared this after October 7th. Here's a video that represents the deep brainwashing that goes on in synagogues. There's a reason why there's so many Jewish people who support Zionism and genocide. Do you guys think it's an accident? Do you guys think it's a coincidence? Oh, it's just a coincidence that 99% of synagogues support Zionism. It's just a coincidence that we have these rabbis who support No, this is what they are taught, and it needs to be critically analyzed.
כשאני אומרת לכם ירושלים, מה עובר לכם בראש? מה זה ירושלים? בית המקדש.
כותל. מה עוד?
מי מאמין שבית המקדש ייבנה בשנים הקרובות? מה יש שם עכשיו על בית המקדש? אז מה יקרה עם המסגד? יישבר?
Explain how mosque in Jerusalem is going to collapse, explode, and disappear. He says, who among you have met an Arabic kid in the last year? Jesus Christ. Bro, can you guys imagine what these motherfuckers be saying when we're not filming them? Can you guys imagine what these motherfuckers are saying when we're not around? And then it infuriates me. It infuriates me that anti-Zionist Jews will then turn around and then gaslight you. They will then turn around like, hey, they didn't brainwash me. Well, no, there ain't no brainwashing going on. My question to people is, why are anti-Zionist Jews gaslighting us? How many of these videos do we have to see of Jewish kids being taught the most disgusting shit? Look, it only gets worse. I should let it finish. Look, it only gets worse. I'm gonna let it finish here so you guys see what I'm talking about. She's asking them, who among you met an Arabic kid the last year?
פגש בשנה האחרונה ילד ערבי.
איפה פגשת ילד ערבי? ליד הכותל.
דיברת איתו?
לא, הוא דחף אותי, אבל לא.
ומה קורה כשאתם רואים ילד ערבי? מה אתם מרגישים?
She said, when you meet an Arabic kid, how do you feel? They said, we feel angry, and I feel I want to kill them. So hold up, anti-Zionist Jews, I need you to level with me here. Are you serious that we are not allowed to critique any ideology that leads to this? So for all the people that say Judaism isn't Zionism, do you guys think it's a coincidence that all these Jewish institutions support genocide? That a state that is endorsed by Jewish institutions end up supporting a genocide? So if you have religious scripture like the Torah, which says all sorts of fuck shit, I'm not even going to get into all the fuck shit that is said about the Torah. But the Torah literally justifies genocide. So do you guys understand how arrogant the U.S. left sounds when they say that Judaism isn't Zionism? Your book, the Torah literally justifies genocide. The synagogues support genocide. They all support Israel. At what point do you stop doing PR for Judaism? It is not our job to do PR for this ideology. This ideology that brainwashes kids into wanting to kill Arab kids? I was a fucking kid. I never said anything like this. Can you imagine being a kid and saying you want to kill other kids because they're raised? I guess like KKK kids believe this shit. White kids believe this shit, I guess. But can you imagine, bro? We are supposed to take it easy on these motherfuckers. You are out of your mind if you're going to tell, you think you're going to tell me I can't critique this. I understand, like, there are religious people, they all believe in crazy shit, so they have like this pact. They have like this pact where they agree where they're not going to attack each other's religion. But as I mentioned in my tweet, I'm not religious. I don't throw it at people's face. I don't attack people for their beliefs. But if I'm not religious, why am I obligated to support these crazy batshit fascist ideologies? Because religious people, they have a pact. Hey, man, you don't talk shit about my religion. I won't talk shit about your religion. Why should I respect that? Why should anyone who has a conscience respect this? I just want to let you guys know this is how a lot of people see Americans, and they will be right. Remember, a lot of Americans didn't start opposing the Vietnam War until they start seeing their people die. Many Americans didn't start opposing the Iraq War until they started seeing American soldiers die. And not like they are principally opposed. Like, look how many Americans support nuking North Korea. Look how many Americans hate North Korea, even though North Korea hasn't done anything to them. Americans are deeply psychotic, like many of these Jewish kids are nowadays. So let me continue this. Here to explain how seeing an Arab kid makes them feel murderous rage and makes them want to kill them.
ומה קורה כשאתם רואים ילד ערבי? מה אתם מרגישים?
תחושות זעם.
זעם? מה קורה כשאתם פוגשים ילד חילוני? למה אתה מרחם עליו כשאתם ילד חילוני? מה הוא מפסיד?
הוא לא הולך בדרך כלל.
כשאתם חושבים על ירושלים בעוד 10 שנים. כולם חרדים?
לא כולם ערבים חלק.
What? Bro. They are literally implementing genocidal propaganda to them. They said, how do you see Jerusalem in the next 10 years? And they say it will be all Jewish. You guys see how synagogues are preaching the Greater Israel Project to Jewish kids from day one. Why do you guys think these Zionists flip out whenever they see people opposing the Zionist Israel Greater Project? Synagogues, for whatever reason, and I'm sure there are a lot of good ones, they allowed Zionists to hijack their religion. They allowed religious leaders, well, I should say religious leaders accepted the tenets of Zionism and they started preaching in their holy, their house of God, for lack of a better term. So how can you say Judaism isn't Zionism when Judaism embraces Zionism? I repeat, how can you say Judaism isn't Zionism when Judaism embraces Zionism? You think how can I, as someone who's not religious, I'm not a Jew, how can you, as someone who is not a Jew, look at a Jewish person and tell them that you know their religion more than they do? And I'll go back to the question. My question for anyone who's upset at me for going down this line of logic, why, in the middle of a genocide, you believe it's upon you right now to do PR for this religion? Why is it our job to do PR? Anti-Zionist Jews, they do PR for their religion. They do PR for their genocidal religion because they have family attachments. They're still attached to the genocidal ideology. So they spend a lot of time gaslighting people and saying stuff like Judaism, it had nothing to do with Zionism. Why is it being preached in synagogues then? Why are 99.2% of synagogues supportive of Zionism and ones who are not are canceled and retaliated against by their community? So do not get me wrong. I am in favor of leading with settler colonialism as the chief issue of Israel-Palestine. We can bring up international law. We can bring up how Palestinians have a right to armed resistance, not because of any religious tenet, but because of international law. We can preach human rights. And that should be how we lead with this issue. But personally, I am beyond done with the left doing PR for this ideology which is leading people to genocidal tendencies. And there must be a massive reckoning against synagogues and against Jewish institutions who support genocide. So if you're one of the people who's afraid of going down this line of thoughts, what are you implying the end game should look like? Are you saying that, let's say we end the genocide in Gaza, are you telling me that there should not be a reckoning towards a church who advocates for this kind of genocidal ideology? So you guys think leaving this off the table, how will that benefit humanity in the long run if we don't straight up confront this toxic ideology, this toxic culture? It doesn't benefit us. People only do so because ultimately they want to fit in Western society. There are a lot of these people who claim to be for Palestinian rights, a lot of these people who claim to be against Israel, but they are ultimately full of shit. They're part of the professional managerial class, and they want to fit in with the professional managerial class, and they don't want to lose job offers and opportunities. So you know what they do? They pretend to support Palestine while repeating stupid shit like the anti-Semitism hoax, like every single person who got upset at me over this tweet. So because they are still attached to Western society, and because they still want to hold a job one day, they still have to convince themselves that anti-Semitism is real. We got to speak out against anti-Semitism. We can't critique Judaism. Judaism is different from Zionism. They say this because they are still attached to the system. Guys, personally, I'm fucked. I have been fucked for years. Any chance of me having a professional career has long since been ended. I was a pretty prolific seller of cars. I was promoted. I literally managed internet accounts for one of the largest Toyota stores in the country. I was doing just fine before I quit my job to advocate for revolution. I am destroyed professionally because all the people I worked with, they was all Zionists. All these car dealerships are owned by Zionists. Any sort of professional, let's say I wanted to ditch RBN tomorrow. You guys realize that is not happening? You guys realize I'm stuck doing this shit, right? Because any chance I have of getting any sort of professional job has long since been killed because I'm willing to tell the truth about the Zionist entity. So I have no reason to hold back because I am not looking to rejoin polite capitalist society and make money for a capitalist. This is why I'm willing to tell your guys the truth about this issue. The people who on the left who are telling you that anti-Semitism is real, these are the people who are trying to run as a Democrat. These are the people who want to have good relationships with Democrats. These are the people who don't want to be financially retaliated against the Zionist structure. Guys, I'm already out of the game. You guys don't ever have to worry about me filtering my opinions because I'm worried about a job in the future. That is long since gone. If you type my first and last name into Google, like all job or all employers do, you will see my RBN account. You will find my Twitter. You will see the ADL criticism of me. You will see the ADL smearing Nicholas Cruz as an anti-Semite. So essentially, I'm fucked. And I have nothing to lose. That's why I want to tell the truth on these things. So isn't it interesting? Me, who don't care about my position in society, me, who don't care about what people think about them, and I don't want to tell the truth and think and say what's on my mind, regardless of pushback. People think I'm the grifter. when it's the exact opposite. The person who would tell you that anti-Semitism is a giant structural problem. The person who would say that Judaism is not connected to Zionism because they worry about pushback from the Zionist regime. The person who's worried about having an MSNBC job like Emma Vigeland and Sam Cedar, like they are MSNBC regulars. They are the grifters. The person who is worried about going viral like this, the person who is stressed out about being attacked by Zionists. People are like, hey, Nick, don't you know you're being attacked? Don't you know they're all calling you anti-Semites? I was like, good. A person like me who says whatever on my mind and let the chip fall where it falls, it is the exact opposite of a grifter, guys. The fact that there's so many people's brain is broken, they don't understand that, it's crazy. All these people who are bullshitting you about the reality of Judaism, they are the grifters because they are lying to you in order to protect their pocket change. They don't want to ruin their relationship with the Zionist regime. The people on the left, the people who advocate revolution, are never grifters, guys. Never, ever. It's not a good grift. But with that said, we're 90 minutes in, and best believe I will continue to, as I do all the time, instigate the Overton window. It is my job to look at where the Overton window was at right now and continue to push it to the left. I've been covering the issue of Israel-Palestine for years. I cared about the issue before the genocide, right? So you had everyone in the world started caring about Israel, and they started following the lead of people like me. So once I saw people starting to criticize Israel, I didn't become content with that. You guys think I saw people criticizing Israel and was like, damn, my job is done here. Nope. I was like, okay, bet. Let's go further. Hamas did nothing wrong. I support the Palestinian resistance. So it's our job as revolutionaries to consistently prod and shift the Overton window to the position of revolution, not be satisfied with our work. People turning against Israel, okay, great. Now let's get on to support revolution. Let's get on to support the Palestinian resistance. And that's what I'm doing now. Now that people are okay with critiquing the Zionist regime, now I'm going further. Because this is what I do. This is what real revolutionaries do. As the people shift, I'm going to continue to shift further to the left and drag them with me. When Bernie Sanders lost, there was many people who made a calculation that the Democratic Party can't be overthrown, so they shifted to the right. People like the Vanguard, people like Kyle Kalinske. I can't even come up with me now. I don't know that many people. David Dove. I don't know these people like that. Many of these people shifted to the right after Bernie Sanders lost. When Bernie Sanders lost, I shifted to the left and went pure fucking tanky. Like, that's where I'm at. And if we're not dragging people to revolutionary position, what the fuck are we even doing? If you're not chasing clout as a communist, what are you doing? People are like, Nick, what are you talking about? Another criticism people giving me, they will say, Nick, he think he a hot shot. He got 160,000 followers. I don't know what the fuck he think he is. He's just a clout chaser. He got 100. He think he's the shit. He really think he's the shit. He got a fucking YouTube channel with thousands of people watching. Yeah, he got all these followers. He's just a clout chaser. How is that a critique? If you are serious about revolution, in the West, communism has no clout. You guys understand that? In the West, communism has no clout. So every single communist should be a clout chaser. We need every single communist doing everything they can to increase the clout of communism. So how are you a socialist criticizing socialists for seeking clout for socialism and communism? Decolonize your minds, man. This will be the last thing I share. I went live for 90 minutes. And we're going to have a panel on Wednesday. I'm going to continue this conversation. We're going to have a panel on Zionism. I want to have people who discuss this issue with me. We got a banger. Yeah, we have someone from Jewish Voice for Peace who's gonna show up. I'm really interested in seeing they will, because the Jewish Voice for Peace people was furious with me. So you guys know what we do at RBN. I'm not above criticism. If someone's upset at me, I'm not one of the people that will be, if you criticize my critique, come on, RBN, and defend yourself. Which is what we did for Jewish Voice for Peace. So they'll be joining us Wednesday. And we got some Palestinian activists joining because I didn't want to speak for Palestinians. Anything I say, I will, and I am able to defend myself when I say it. And I want to defend my beliefs. To me, there's nothing more pussy than people who are afraid of debate. Yo, debate me, bro. You're afraid to defend your positions? Like, you're not gonna win every goddamn debate, guys. But if you're afraid to defend your positions, that's what the entirety of the online left does. They just block people. They block people and they stay in their little silos where they talk to their fucking socialist pen pals, and they think that's praxis. Like there are people all the time who like smear the ACP. They never debate Haas. Like, I critique MAGA communism. What I do? I critique MAGA communism, and the first thing I did was invite Jackson Hinkle on to debate the issue. You guys know how many pussy-ass leftists I see who they will critique ACP, they will critique RBN, they will critique people, and then they will never defend their belief. They're like, hey, man, how about you debate your belief? No, I don't have to prove shit. That's the anti-intellectualism of the American period. Not just the American left, the people who don't believe they should have to defend their position. There's so many people who do this. Look at all the people who smear the ACP, for example, who I have criticism of, but I think they're doing good work. You have people who will smear, who will talk all sorts of shit about the ACP, but they will never, ever join the ACP and level these criticisms to their face like we do. I had Midwestern Marks on, and I was like, hey, man, this is what we don't like about the ACP. This is what you think you should get better at doing. And you know what the responsibility of the Western leftists was? They got upset with me for doing that. How dare Nick have dialogue? How dare Nick talk to Jay Shields? How dare Nick go to Jimmy Dore? How dare Nick talk to people? If your biggest criticism of me is that I talk to people, I take that fucking criticism all day. I take that criticism all day. If that's the biggest motherfucking criticism you got of me, I take that shit. Because just because you're too afraid to talk to a fascist, just because you lack any confidence in your ability to grasp theory, you lack your ability to be persuasive. So you don't believe that conservative people are even worth talking to. You don't even believe that it's even worth going on right-wing shows, because like, what's the point? I can't win people over, so what's the fucking point? I believe that that's your position. You're useless to this movement. You don't have to be a debate me, bro. You don't have to try and win people over. But if you're one of the people that only want to stay in your safe space, if you're one of the people who only want to stay in your little socialist silos and have conversation with their socialist pen pals online, just admit that you're a coward and leave the heavy lifting to the adults. And allow us to do it. And like this person accurately says, they should be thanking people like me for wanting to do the job you're too afraid of doing. You're too inequipped to do. So that's my position. We're not even innocent. Hope you guys been enjoying the new show. I told you guys, bro, the new Nick and Night series is gonna be something else. Because I have a lot to talk about. And I'm gonna be doing this show every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Whenever discourse like this happens, I'm gonna come here and break down with you guys. I'm going to discuss history, theory. We're going to have live panel conversations. We're not going to be a fucking echo chamber. And there are people on Twitter who hate my fucking guts. Bro, I mean hate. They spend their entire fucking page dedicated on attacking me because I refuse to allow RBN to be an echo chamber where we don't reach out to the working class because we believe in the potential of the working class. I did not realize that I didn't even mention this receipt, so this would be the last thing I'm bring up. Oh yeah, super chats. Let me put notes. Don't forget super chats. I know this kind of out of order now. I should have read this earlier because this is about the fact that there's no structural anti-Semitism. So leftists who tried to explain to me that anti-Semitism is real, like, bro, what? I thought that as communists and as socialists, we understood that when we talk about racism and anti-Semitism, we talk about the structural application of said ideas. So you guys understand that as a black man, I could give a single fuck. I couldn't give a single fuck, I should say, if a white person hates me. Like, people like Nick Fuentes is actually very hilarious to me. They're like, oh my God, why can't we have a white society? Why can't we have a white society? Why do you black people here? That you are living the consequences of your ancestors' actions. Cry more. We're going nowhere. So these people that like don't really upset me. Like, in fact, I laugh at white racists. Have you seen the white people who talk about white genocide? Oh my God, white women keep having sex with black people. Oh my God, there's a white genocide. Dude, these people don't offend me. They're hilarious, guys. They're hilarious to me. Oh my God, white women keep fucking black men. Ah. What upsets me is structural racism. I'm upset that over 70% of civil asset forfeiture cases are black men. I'm upset that during the financial crisis, you have Wall Street that was illegally foreclosing on black homes, which led to a tanking of black wealth. So for all the leftists who upset at me when I say anti-Semitism isn't real, where is the structural anti-Semitism, guys? Explain to me what that is. Jewish people are 25% of the billionaires in this country. They, as a group, can get immediate congressional hearings, anti-Semitism bills passed, Harvard presidents fired, and the police state mobilized in order to crack down on protests against their political demands. So this is why I would die on this hill, because if you are saying that anti-Semitism is real, what are you talking about? These are the same people that say, oh my, you can't say that there's anti-white racism because where is the structural racism against white people? Those same motherfuckers will turn around without any shame and tell you that there's anti-Semitism is real. You want to know how much our structure, our government, our society is catered towards Jewish people? Bro, Colombia is paying students money for getting their feelings hurt by Palestinian protests, bro. Look at this. Columbia University is going to pay out $21 million to Jewish employees because of civil rights violations during the campus protests. So Jews in this country are literally getting free money because they heard someone say free Palestine. And I will repeat for you guys. Jews in this country are getting free money because people said free Palestine. Meanwhile, you're over here telling me that anti-Semitism is real. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Anti-Zionist Jews are getting payouts. That's why anti-Zionist Jews, they're over here telling you anti-Semitism is real because they try to get a payout too. Nigga, they ain't trying to fuck their payout up. I bet you, how many anti-Zionist Jews are going to turn down these paychecks? That's why they keep trying to convince you that anti-Semitism is real. So fuck their feelings. And if in the middle of the genocide, if you're worried about centering the opinions of the genocidal cult, fuck you too. They're stupid fucking tiny hats. Anyway, let me read some super chats. They don't have no idea what they fucking started with this tweet, bro. Bro, you guys just... No, bro. Everyone on X, no, bro. This tweet, it's dominated. Bro. The pushback I got. Oh, Jesus Christ. I love it, though. Like, to me, I never understand. Like, I said this joke many times on this, my show. But there are people like, oh, I got to log off X because it's bad for my mental health. Oh, my God, X is bad for my mental health. Like, nigga, X is hilarious to me, bro. Like, X is like, I get to vent my radical ass opinions, and I have thousands of people who read my radical ass, angry ass tweets. How is X and Twitter not therapeutic for people? People are like, man, I gotta take a mental break. I gotta take a mental break for Twitter. What are you talking about? Twitter and X is the most hilarious shit ever. I get to tweet shit like this, and I get to see Zionists melt down, and I get to start discourse. So, for the people who thought that I was ashamed, I loved every single second of this, and I am going to continue to push this discourse because you guys know I love the phone. I'm all for the phone. Anyway, let me read some super chats. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to read a lot of comments today. I was too busy fucking ranting and raving. Hope you guys enjoy this new series I'm doing. This is the 4th show in a row. I'll tell you guys, we're gonna I'm going to see how long I can keep the streak going. This new show is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I never really have a structural program before. People have been asking me to do it. They're like, you need to do Nick at Night 5 days a week, 3 times a week. You guys know before, I used to just go live whenever. Whenever I book a big guest, I'll go live. Oh, shit, we got Glenn Greenwald coming on. I guess I'll go live. Oh, shit, we got Maury Kimberly coming on. Oh, shit, Joe Stein. We go, no. I promise you guys, you're going to catch me live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys check out this stream. I'll continue this direction. Let me read some super chats here. Zionists know they'll be scapegoated when the times comes. That's why they're in the position they're in, and that's why they're so paranoid and vicious. Thank you for the super chat, Sean. Get the MAGAs, Nick, just like your cover. I'm not sure what you mean there, but I appreciate the super chat. Thank you, Patrick, for 715. Here's my Google opinion and reward money, my man. Great show. Appreciate the support. Hope you guys enjoying this. Make sure you guys tune in, hit the bell. I'm gonna see how long I keep the streak going. I'm gonna keep the streak going as long as I possibly can. Imagine if I do like 10 weeks straight. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, same time. I think you guys will like it. I get a lot of great feedback on the channel for this new show. So I hope you guys continue to tune in. We have our Palestinian anti-Zionist Jewish panel on Wednesday. So pretty much everything I'm talking about today, we're going to cover in a panel on Wednesday and hear from Jewish Voice for Peace, hear from a few Palestinian activists as well. So this is not the last time we're going to have this conversation. We will continue to have this conversation, and I want to listen to anyone even people who push back on me on this issue. Yo, Nick, I said the same thing. Beanie's out of anger. As I said before, dude, I will admit that this tweet is not the most technical. This is not the most technical tweet. Like, this is probably not the best thing to say. But why the fuck is it upon us to regulate our emotions as we are watching children being murdered? I'm sorry, man. I don't think it should be upon us to be in perfect control of our emotions at all times. Maybe we should just hold these motherfuckers accountable for committing genocide. How about that? Orwell reiterated many times about how leftist coalition and Catalonia deface every religious statue and piece of iconography, even gravestones. Thank you for super chat. Watch the future 2026 North Carolina Senate race. Roy Cooper just announced his run. Motherfucker signed the Shalom Act with narrow definition of anti-Semitism and attacks First Amendment rights. By the way, love Nick at prime time. Yeah, I like that name. Like, because technically it's not night, really. Not really dark here. So it's not really Nick at night. Nick at prime time. Let's go. I'm having fun doing the show. Like, more than anything, like, I'm not convinced the algorithm will ever be friendly to us. I just have fun ranting and educating our community. You know what I mean? More than I have fun putting these shows together. That's why it's weird when people are like, oh, Nick is a grifter who just talk about politics because he want to make money. Have you guys ever considered that this is just fun? Like, have you ever considered that this is fun? Having thousands of people listen to you rant about politics? having people telling you that you're the reason why they started getting into mutual aid, it's very fulfilling. So that's why we advocate for more people starting a channel. Like, I'm very blessed that I get to talk to people from all over the world. Like, I'm having Shama Sawan on Friday. The badass Shama Sawan. I get to talk to journalists from China. I get to talk to people from France, Germany. I have people on from the UK. I have my African brother from David Hundayan from Hotspot. Like, even if you're not a big channel, I would do this if I were you guys because it's very fulfilling as a hobby. You know what I mean? That's why all people are like, niggas are Christian. What are you talking about? This is very fulfilling and fun to do generally. So I'm having fun with this new show, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Don't let whites define Ethiopians' J religion, though. Thank you for the super. Here's the last one I see. I'm gonna wrap it up with this. I only plan on going for like maybe an hour 15. We almost did 2 hours. 3 days a week of me just ranting like this. Isn't that fun? Thank you for the $5 Chima. Racist white men complain constantly about their women marrying black men, yet they have no problems with themselves marrying Asian women. That's why it's hilarious that people are talking about white genocide. Like, all you have to do is date your own white women, and there wouldn't be white genocide. You guys are struggling to do that. J.D. Vance, he married an Indian woman. Like, nigga, J.D. Vance, you married an Indian woman. You talking about whites being replaced. You're a part of that, sir. All you have to do is marry your own damn women. You guys can't even accomplish that. I tell you guys, like, the hardcore racist people, I promise you guys, they don't sweat me at all. Like, I don't understand why anyone get upset with them. I'm actually, like, hardcore racists are more hilarious to me. Like, you got BBC, you got black cock on your mind all day. Oh my God, they're mixing race. Why are they race mixing? Oh my God, you're a nigger lover. The white meltdown over white women dating black men is hilarious to me. I don't know why people get triggered over it. Like, I watched Nick Fuentes rant, and I like, man, this motherfucker is in shambles because you guys know we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So this is something that the white supremacists, they simply had to cope with this for the rest of their life. So why would we get upset? Like, whenever you guys bitch and complain about, like, because I had sex with plenty of white women, like, the fact that you guys have been upset about that greatly amuses me. You know what I mean? Jew here, you're fine. Keep pushing on. And all the real ones are fine. Like, there are plenty of anti-Zionist Jews who still follow me, but bro, the anti-Zionist Jew meltdown, bro, was something else. If you're interested, just Google my username if you want to see the meltdown. I think it's hilarious. Me and Zoya, we was laughing at it. Me and Rome, I was talking to Rome on the phone. I was laughing with him about it. This is what we live for, man. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this new series. Make sure you guys check us out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Wednesday, I will have our Palestinian panel. So a lot of great content. Friday, Shama Sawan will be joining us. I'm planning on doing a somewhat regular series with Shama Sawan, where I have her on maybe twice a month, maybe once every 3 weeks. Me and Shama have been talking about doing something very regular. And I think it's great. I think that would be a great show. Like, Shama is not like a tanky like I want her to be. Like, she kind of a trot. I want her to be a little bit more tanky, but I love Shama though. And I'm looking forward to having her on. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night.